What if I told you that right now, as you're sitting, standing, or even lying down, you are falling? Well, kind of. Gravity is constantly pulling you toward Earth. But then why don't you feel it? Why don't we float away like astronauts in space? That's because gravity is the invisible glue that holds the universe together. From the tiniest raindrop to the largest black hole, everything is governed by this mysterious force. But what is gravity, and how does it shape our lives? This story starts with a man you might have heard of, Isaac Newton. Legend says he was sitting under a tree when an apple fell beside him. But instead of just eating it, he asked, why did it fall straight down and not sideways or up? That single question led to one of the biggest discoveries in science, gravity. He realized that the same force pulling the apple down is also keeping the moon in orbit around Earth. And just like that, the universal law of gravitation was born. Every object in the universe attracts every other object with a force that depends on two things: the masses of the objects and the distance between them. This means the bigger the objects, the stronger the gravitational force. But the farther apart they are, the weaker the pull. On Earth, gravity is why things fall. No matter what object you drop, it accelerates downward at 9.8 meters per second squared. We call this g, acceleration due to gravity. But here's something crazy. Without air resistance, all objects fall at the same rate, as seen here, where there's no air, and sure enough, both hit the ground at the same time. Gravity doesn't just make things fall, it also keeps things in orbit. Imagine throwing a ball. If you throw it harder, it goes farther. Now what if you threw it so fast that as it falls, the Earth curves away? That's how satellites stay in orbit. The initial velocity of the satellite is such that due to the force acted by the Earth, the satellite can never drift off into space and similarly not fall back onto the Earth. But gravity isn't just for space, it's affecting your daily life too. The moon's gravity pulls on Earth's oceans, creating tides. This is why the region directly above the moon and the totally opposite region experience high tide, whilst at the same time the region at 90 degrees experiences low tide. For a long time, people believed planets moved in perfect circles around the sun. But then came Johannes Kepler, who figured out the truth. Planetary orbits are actually ellipses. He gave 3 laws. Planets move around the sun in elliptical orbits, not circles. The sun isn't at the center, but at one of the 2 foci of the ellipse. As a planet moves, it sweeps out equal areas in equal time. This means planets move faster when closer to the sun and slower when farther away. This law connects a planet's orbital period to its distance from the sun. Planets that are farther away take much longer to complete one orbit than those closer to the sun. Without gravity, the universe would be a total mess. Planets wouldn't exist, stars wouldn't form, and we'd all just drift away. But thankfully, gravity is always at work, shaping the universe, keeping us on the ground and making life possible.